Welcome to New Sky TV Exploded. This time, it really blew through the ceiling of the short drama. Guo Yuxin's with Jin Chang'an has a label of a hit drama, and the collection has exceeded 1 million. The short play with Jin Chang'an starring Guo Yuxin has been officially labeled as a hit drama by Hongguo Short Drama. It is a phenomenon-level hit on the short drama track in February 2026. When the word hot drama was personally stamped by the official, with Jin Chang'an was no longer a hit in the ordinary sense, but swept the entire short drama track in February 2026 with a phenomenal aura. It was launched on February 8th. In just 15 days, the number of collections directly exceeded the 1 million mark, with 380,000 collections on the first day. This number is like a heavy hammer, smashing countless so-called hot-selling myth records. Do you think this is luck? No, this is precision sniping. The popularity of the platform soared to 40 million, and the data curve rose almost in a straight line. The topic on the entire internet, Guo Yuxin and Jin Chang'an has a hot drama tag. Guo Yuxin and Jin Chang'an's collection exceeds 1 million has become a hot search topic, and the barrage has caused the system to freeze. The comment area has exceeded 10,000 overnight, and Jin Chang'an's sequelae and Yuxin's heartbeat have become new buzzwords. But it's never just the data that really drives people home. It's Guo Yuxin. The heroine she plays in the play is cold and restrained on the outside, but she is fiery and hot underneath. The kind of love that is extremely restrained but cannot be hidden, the kind of struggle that is repeatedly pulled between machinations and emotions, is played by her in layers, like a calm storm. One look from her can make the audience hold their breath from the other side of the screen. A whispered line is enough to make people's hearts beat out of order. Some people say that with Jin Chang'an became a hit because of the fast and accurate plot pace. The plot line is not sloppy, the emotional line is sweet but not greasy, the twists come unexpectedly, and the end of each episode is like a hook, hooking the audience. But what really makes people sink in is that sense of fate. Jin Chang'an is not a perfect male protagonist in the traditional sense. He has edge, ambition, and forbearing affection. The heroine interpreted by Guo Yuxin is not a vase waiting to be rescued. She has her own plans and her own bottom line. The look between the two people is not a simple ambiguity, but an undercurrent of temptation in the shadow of the sword, an obsession that knows the danger but still approaches step by step. The confrontation scene on a rainy night was called 3 minutes of conferring God by netizens. The rain slid down her hair. Her eyes were red but she refused to retreat. He stretched out his hand but stopped in mid-air. At that moment, love and calculation intertwined, restraint and desire collided. There is no exaggerated hug, but it is more thrilling than any kiss scene. No wonder some people lamented, this is not a short play, this is a condensed version of epic emotions, and what's even more magical is that it's just a short play. In an era when traffic is king, many works are trying their best to build topics and create gimmicks, but they cannot escape the fate of rising high and falling low. With Jin Chang'an uses the most solid script and the most restrained performance to write the word explosive drama into reality. This time, Guo Yuxin did not rely on marketing to stay in the limelight, but relied on roles to enter people's hearts. She didn't overhype, nor did she open the show frequently. She only used one scene after another to capture the audience's emotions to the extreme. Some people say that after watching with Jin Chang'an and watching other short dramas, they always feel that something is missing. What is missing is the sense of soul that truly sinks into the character. A collection of over 1 million is not just a number, but an attitude. The audience is willing to pay for this sincerity. What's even more amazing is that this is just the beginning. As the plot deepens, the relationship between the characters gradually reveals a larger chess game, and the game of emotion and power will escalate in an all-round way. Some people predict that it is very likely to become the ceiling-level masterpiece of short dramas in 2026. If a hit requires the right time, place and people, then Jin Chang'an has gathered all the chips. And Guo Yuxin has also proved with her strength that she is not a short-lived popular name, but a heroine who can support the soul of a work. When the number of collections continues to rise, and when hot search terms are refreshed one after another, we may be witnessing the birth of a new phenomenon-level benchmark. This time, it really wasn't an exaggeration. This is the highlight moment of With Jin Chang'an. It also belongs to Guo Yuxin's beginning of the conferred God. What really makes people get goosebumps is that she performed the word iron-blooded in a different way. Li Shuang, played by Guo Yuxin, is not a cold-faced war goddess with facial makeup, but a general with flesh and blood, injuries and pain. She wears armor and holds a sword on the battlefield. The horse's hooves fly around and the blade penetrates into her bones. She performs almost every fight scene in person, rolling, falling, and fighting at close range in one go. When the camera zooms in, there is blood on the forehead, the lips are slightly white, and the war-damaged makeup looks sharp and broken under the cold light. The stubbornness that is on the verge of reaching the limit but still does not take a step back has been called a textbook of war-damaged aesthetics by netizens. But what's most cruel about her is not her actions, but her eyes. On top of the city tower, she looked down at the army, her eyes as cold as frost. When she turned around to be alone, she gently lowered her eyes in a deserted place, with an unspeakable loneliness hidden in her eyes. The contrast between hard on the outside and soft on the inside was perfectly grasped by her. There was no deliberate sensationalism, just a pause in breathing and a subtle tremor, and the emotion spreads along the camera. Especially that line, "My road is not in your backyard." There was no hysteria, no hoarseness, she just said it calmly, but every word fell into place. At that moment, Li Shuang was no longer just a female general in a costume drama, but a projection in the hearts of countless women. She refuses to be defined, and she refuses to be placed under the labels of whose wife and whose accessory. What she wants is the battlefield, freedom, and the direction of her own choosing. This independent spirit gives the character an instant resonance with the times. In the emotional line, Li Shuang's softness is equally moving. It's not that she doesn't understand her heartbeat, but she doesn't allow herself to indulge. When faced with love, her eyes would flash with panic and tenderness for a moment, but she would quickly control her emotions and put her private emotions under her armor. The kind of love that is restrained to the extreme is more heart-wrenching than a straightforward confession. Some viewers left a message: "It's not that she doesn't love her, she's too sober." Because of this, when Li Shuang looked back at the person in the blazing sky, the short 2-second pause was worth 1,000 words. In that glance, there was concern, forbearance, and unspeakable choices. Guo Yuxin used micro-expressions to perform the general's love into a high-level tragedy. The data is rising and the popularity is soaring, but what really supports the title of the ceiling of female costume heroes is her awe and devotion to the role. From horse riding training to the use of weapons, she entered the group almost weeks in advance to adapt. From deportment to pace, she deliberately adjusted her center of gravity so that every step carried the weight of a general. Not just posing, but living like Li Shuang. So what we see is no longer a challenge to contrasting characters with sweet looks, but a transformation that completely breaks the stereotype. She proves that beauty and strength are never in opposition, and softness and strength can coexist. When more and more viewers shed tears for Li Shuang, shouted for Li Shuang, and made wallpapers for Li Shuang's screenshots, we gradually understood that this was not a short traffic carnival, but a highlight display of female power. What Li Shuang protects is the territory of his family and country, while what Guo Yuxin protects is the actor's confidence. Perhaps many years later, when people recall the popular characters this year, they will still mention the female general wearing armor, with frosty eyes but a fiery heart. She is no one's vassal. She is Li Shuang. It was also Guo Yuxin who handed over an extremely beautiful answer sheet for the audience. She was not born invincible, but was forged into steel through repeated losses and choices. Every scar on the battlefield is not to exaggerate the tragedy, but to remind her of the heavy responsibility on her shoulders. She once wiped her armor alone late at night, with her fingertips resting on the cracks. Her eyes briefly lost focus, but became firm again in the next second. That momentary turning point was played with restraint and high level by Guo Yuxin. The reason why the audience empathizes is because Li Shuang's strength is not a slogan, but comes at a price. She can wear armor to fight for her country in her country, and she dares to fight against authority for her beliefs. She will hesitate for the heartbeat, but she will not give up herself for love. The coexistence of sobriety and fiery character allows the character to find a delicate balance between sweetness and burning. There is both the sharpness of the sword coming out of its sheath, and the gentleness of independence under the moon. Because of this, every highlight of with Jin Chang'an is like a stage tailor-made for Li Shuang. Guo Yuxin, on the other hand, used a delicate and powerful performance to push this character to the true moment of becoming a god. Thank you for watching the video. See you in the next video. Thank you.